Today we are going to make clover leaf rolls. Clover leaf is basically a type of a leaf which has three sort of petals on it. So we are going to make three different flavors of the bread. We have spinach, tomato and cheese, so that we get three different colors, and we are going to place it in a small patty tin. So let's look at the ingredients.
The ingredients to make the clover leaf roll are refined flour, fat, yeast, grain sugar, salt, water, spinach puree, tomato puree and grated cheese. First we are supposed to make a stiff dough using the refined flour, sugar, yeast and water. So we are going to use approximately only 90 to 100 ml of water to make this dough. This is because we are going to divide the dough later, and we are going to add a spinach puree, tomato puree and cheese to it, which will give moisture to the dough. So that is why we are going to make a stiff dough right in the beginning. Keep on adding water and bind the dough together first. Remove everything from your hand. Once the dough has bound together, we need to start kneading the dough. You have to knead the dough very well. It's a stiff dough, but you have to knead it very well. Once the dough has kneaded well, you need to divide the dough into 3 equal portions and keep them under a damp cloth so as not to dry them out. Then we take one portion and we start adding the flavors. We'll start with cheese. We're going to add a grated cheese into the first portion and knead it well. Now once you start adding your flavors, your dough will start becoming sticky, so be careful. Once the cheese has been nicely incorporated into the dough, take 1/3 of the fat and 1/3 of the salt, cream it and incorporate it into the dough. Knead it well. Once that is done, round it up and keep it covered under a moist cloth on a clean surface. Clean your table and start with the second portion. We are going to add 20 grams of tomato puree to the second portion. Now what we have done with the tomato puree is it's ready-made tomato puree, but we have cooked it on the flame so as to ensure that all the moisture has evaporated from it. Try and take thick tomato puree. If you take it thin, it's going to thin down your dough. So we need it concentrated. Incorporate it nicely into your dough. You can see the dough is becoming soft and sticky. Just remember, all the three doughs have to be of the same softness. Knead it well. Once that is done, incorporate another 5 grams of fat with 1/3 part of the salt into the dough. Cream it and then incorporate it. Once that is done, we need to round up this dough as well and keep it covered under a moist cloth. And we need to do all of this quickly because the first dough is proving by that time. Next, take the third portion of the dough, add the spinach puree to it. Now to make the spinach puree, we have taken spinach, cleaned it, blanched it, pureed it with minimal water, and then we have again cooked it on the flame so as to evaporate all the moisture from the puree. We need a thick concentrated spinach puree. Knead it well. Once it's properly kneaded, again take 1/3 part of your fat and 5 grams of your 1/3 part of your salt and 1/3 part of your fat and knead it into the dough. You can see it's become soft and sticky. Once it's completely kneaded, round up the dough and place it under a moist cloth. Once the dough has proved, knock back the dough. And roll it into a cylindrical shape. You can use a little bit of flour, but do not incorporate the flour into the dough. Now we are supposed to divide each of this into 10 portions. So mark and then divide each flavored dough into 10 portions. And then cut it properly. Once all the portions have been cut, round them up and ensure that they are even in size. If they are not, even it out. Once that is done, grease the patty tins with melted fat or oil. And while placing the dough, apply water. We are going to place all 3 types of flavored dough into one patty tin and apply water while placing them so that they stick to each other. Press them down gently with your hands. Prove the rolls for 30 minutes and then bake it at 220 degrees Celsius for 10 to 12 minutes. Once they are out of the oven, immediately apply melted fat over it. And then demold it from the patty tin. Allow it to cool on a wire rack itself. And your clover leaf rolls are ready. Thank you.